Hi everyone, I'm Vandana. I'll be the host for today. Yeah. So Sierra Circuit's basic services are PCB manufacturing, assembly, and component procurement management. I invite you all to request a quote. We offer advanced technologies like HDI, rigid flex PCBs, RF, and microwave PCBs. We work in partnership with our customers on complex designs, not only on PCBs, but assembly as well. If you haven't used our online tools, please check those out as well. And so this is what Sierra does, and we appreciate any opportunities you may send our way. So this is the agenda for today. We have 8 DFA mistakes that people commonly make, and we have also suggested some solutions on how to prevent them. Let's just discuss the troubles caused by overlooking the design for assembly rules. The first one is that when DFA rules are overlooked, you'll see assembly issues like tombstoning, solder bridging, or component misalignment. Incorrect component placement often happens when polarity markings are not clear enough. Also, the manual intervention during pick and place slows down the entire process, leading to longer assembly cycles. Poor solder joints might result in electrical failures, and depanelization, of course, might also cause physical damage to the components. Uneven heating during reflow might also lead to inconsistent soldering. We will be discussing more on this later. So we'll start with the 8 DFA mistakes that I mentioned earlier. The first one is incorrect footprint design. One of the most frequent DFA problems we see starts with component footprints. If the footprint dimensions do not match the datasheet, it might cause placement errors. Another common issue is using an outdated component datasheet. Missing or incorrect polarity and pin 1 markings increase the risk of orientation errors. So here we have listed some DFA solutions to prevent these. First, you need to ensure that the footprint aligns with the latest version of the component datasheet. Also indicate the polarity and pin 1 markings using silkscreen. Make sure the units align with the centroid file. Let's discuss incomplete assembly drawing. The issues in the assembly drawing are as mentioned here. The first one, incorrect component reference designators. Then you have missing pin 1 markings and XY coordinates. And of course, undefined assembly instructions for the top and bottom layers. So to avoid these, you need to include these following specifications in your assembly drawing. The first one is to include the part reference designators. Then you also need to mention the polarity markings for all the ICs and any unique handling instructions for ESD devices, heat sinks, or connectors. It's also important to mention the location, size, and the shape of fiducial markings. No paste on DNI components, and any cutouts, slots, or mounting holes with locations and sizes have to be mentioned as well. Then we have wrong or missing data in BOM. The typical DFA issues that usually arises when creating a BOM are inclusion of obsolete or duplicate components, wrong part numbers, descriptions, lead times, and vendor details, and of course, incorrect component quantities. So you need to update the BOM to ensure there are no obsolete or unavailable components. And if there are any, you need to replace them with suitable alternatives. You also need to verify components listed in the BOM are readily available to avoid production delays. Always validate your MPNs, that is the manufacturer part number, the descriptions and the manufacturer details before finalizing the BOM. And estimate the component quantities as per the assembly requirements. You can always try out our tool BOM checker. This tool instantly flags issues in your uploaded BOM and generates a cost estimate for the specified number of PCBs. Now I'll just quickly show you our component selector tool. So this is our component selector tool here. It features multiple filters to narrow down the best fit manufacturer part numbers. This tool also incorporates Sierra's preferred component list that provides standardized footprint files compatible with Altium Designer and Cadence Allegro. Choosing these parts can reduce fabrication errors and improve your production efficiency. First, we need to select a family from this list here. You see that we have a lot of categories. Uh, Let me just. Right. Sorry about that. So we have a lot of categories here. I'll just choose the resistors for now. And under the resistors, we also have the chip resistors, through-hole resistors, current sense resistors, trimmer and resistor arrays. This is true for all the other families as well. You will find the categories will be updated depending on the family that you have chosen. Then you need to use these drop downs here to choose the desired specifications. Let's just choose a few of these package cases. Then we have the ratings, number of terminations, resistance, of course. I'll just choose a few of these resistances for our resistors. Then we have the power, tolerance, operating temperature range, and the temperature coefficient. Then we have the footprint details here and click on apply filter. These specifications and the drop downs will be updated according to the family and the categories that you have chosen. You now see that we have a list of all these components that will be displayed in the table below. You can see various component information. You can scroll to the rightmost column of the table to download the footprint file and the data sheet. You can also compare the components. All we have to do is tick or select the components using these tick boxes. Now click on compare selected and a side-by-side comparison of the components will be displayed. You can also add any of these components to your favorite list by clicking on this add button here. The favorite list is available on top. You just scroll on top here and the third tab, my favorites. And it will appear in the My Favorites table here below. You can create and maintain a list of frequently used components for quick access. You can also find a component using its MPN or the part description by switching to this part search tab. For example, I just put 2 ohm resistor here, or you can directly put the MPN as well. And click on search. And the list of the components is generated and displayed. This tool makes it easy to find, compare, and select your components for your PCB design. So I'll just get back to the slides now. Yeah. So we'll discuss insufficient part-to-part clearances now. Insufficient component-to-component clearances might cause part overlapping and solder bridges. You can have at least 10 mil of courtyard clearance for all the components. Components smaller than 0603 packages should have 6 mil clearance. Connectors, crystals, and CAN capacitors need a minimum of 20 mil clearance, and sensitive devices like BGAs should have a clearance of 39 mil. Here are the recommended spacing requirements between two components when they are mounted side by side. We have 3 categories here, A, B, and C, depending on the spaces between these adjacent components. And the package type and the recommended spacing requirements are shown in the table. Similarly, in this slide, you will see the spacings between pads of similar components like 01001, 0201, 0402, and 0603. So you need to maintain some of these mentioned minimum clearances when you're positioning through-hole connectors. We recommended you to keep a spacing of at least 2.5 mm between 2 vertical connectors. Between a horizontal and a vertical connector, provide at least 3.75 mm clearance. And between a connector and a through-hole component, the recommended spacing is 2.5 mm. The distance between an SMT connector and plated through holes should be 4 mm. Components that are too close to the traces might also result in shorts due to solder wicking. To avoid these electrical shorts, incorporate at least 8 mm part to hole distance, and the spacing between the component to the annular ring edge should be a minimum of 7 mm. We'll just discuss inadequate component to board edge clearances now. So components that are placed close to the board edge are more susceptible to damage during handling and reflow soldering. To avert this, you need to position the components 50 to 75 mm away from the board edge. We also recommend for taller components to maintain a clearance of 125 mm from the board edge. Incorporate a 20 to 25 mm spacing between the board edge and SMD components, and clearance between copper traces and manually installed parts should be 10 mm for outer layers and 15 mm for inner layers. An incorrect aperture size in the stencil might also lead to inadequate or excessive solder paste. So you need to always choose an appropriate stencil thickness based on component sizes, pad designs, and solder paste requirements. Divide the aperture width by stencil aspect ratio to calculate the stencil thickness and implement fiducial marks of 1 to 3 mm diameter on the panel. Also maintain at least 3 mm clearance between the board edge and the fiducials, and place 3 global fiducials on the edges and at least 2 local fiducials diagonal to the SMT component. Here we have shown an image where the global and the local fiducials in stencil aperture are marked. Inefficient thermal management is also a very commonly seen issue. Inadequate heat dissipation might increase components' operating temperatures. Also, insufficient thermal relief connections might hinder the heat transfer. Blocked airflow due to the components directly over the heat sinks is also a very commonly seen issue. To dissipate heat from components efficiently, you need to add heat sinks, thermal vias, and fans. Also ensure there is enough spacing around components for adequate airflow. You need to use at least 4 spokes around the thermal relief pads for balanced heat dissipation, and the spoke width should be 1/3 to half of the pad diameter. Maintain a uniform spacing between these spokes. You can also check out our via thermal resistance calculator. The calculator will calculate the number of thermal thermal vias that you can place in a given pad size. It also calculates the resistances of these thermal vias. Now we'll discuss Sierra Circuit's AOI system that detects component misalignment. I'll just play the video here. So Sierra Circuits uses the Vitrox V510i XLW AOI system. The advanced machine enables precise side angle inspection by auto-mapping component leads. It uses advanced AI algorithms for reliable detection of solder defects, misalignments, and microcontamination. It performs LED distance, skew, and golden finger dimension measurements accurately and supports panels up to 1.3 meters by 1.3 meters and 25 kgs. Our AOI facility employs smart direction control lighting for optimal image capture. So now we can see how our SPI machine catches solder bridges and open joints. There is a video here as well. I'll just play it. Sierra Circuits uses the Co-Young KY8030 SPI system. This advanced machine utilizes Moiré technology to measure and correct PCB warpage in real time. The SPI system can detect insufficient solder deposits and automatically dispense paste to repair the open joints. It enables real-time monitoring and optimization of screen printing parameters. It also provides immediate feedback and automatically adjusts printer settings to maintain consistent solder paste quality. Moreover, the inspection facility offers 3D statistical process control with intuitive graphical analysis. We have used these resources for our webinars. You can always go and check our blogs on our website. You can also get in touch with our CRO, Amit. We have various design tools and resources that you can check out at our website. We also have a PCB forum called Sierra Connect. All you need to do is post your question here and our expert will get back to you as soon as they can. We also offer end-to-end PCB manufacturing services. Here's what we bring to the table. And you can explore our design services if you need any assistance with your PCB design.